Yeah, just come back from cinema. Watched that new Final Destination film. Blooming heck, they're fun, but bloody hell, they're far fetched. All the things that got to take place for these blooming deaths to actually occur are mad. Like every wire in the house gets pulled, taut, and all the knives are coming off the shelves. It's bloody mad. Yeah, I know. It's mental. Oh, hang on. The doorbell's ringing. I won't be a moment. Oh, oh, oh.
Hey guys, Hal here coming at you with another movie review. Thank you for clicking on this video and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be diving into the 6th instalment of the Final Destination franchise, Final Destination Bloodlines. After a 14-year hiatus, does this sequel breathe new life into this franchise, or is it finally time to let death lay to rest? That's what we're going to find out. So let's get to it. Final Destination Bloodlines centers on Stephanie Reyes, a college student plagued by recurring nightmares of a catastrophic 1969 tower collapse. These visions lead her to uncover a chilling family secret. Her grandmother Iris survived the disaster due to a premonition inadvertently cursing their bloodline. Now, death is back to claim what was once denied, targeting Stephanie's family in a predetermined sequence of fatal events. So I've always been a massive fan of this Final Destination franchise ever since that first one back in 2000. I loved that it brought such a fresh take on this subgenre of horror, where rather than it being this masked man or someone hunting them down in their dreams, killing them off one by one, we have this unknown presence, a killer without a physical form. And you see all these little scenarios kind of take place leading up to the demise of our characters. And it adds so much suspense, and a lot of humor as well, because it really does put you on the edge of your seat. And that's what's brought us all back to the cinema again and again and again with the release of these films. So I was very excited leading up to the release of this one. So let's get into it. One of the franchise's hallmarks is its inventive and gruesome death sequences, and Bloodlines doesn't disappoint. From a seemingly innocent backyard barbecue that turns deadly to a nail-biting MRI scene that redefines magnetic personality, this film delivers on the elaborate Rube Goldberg-style fatalities that we all come to expect from the franchise. And where our main characters are usually total strangers, and they've usually all just met each other from the circumstances of the beginning of the film and them avoiding this deadly scenario, this one is much different because it has family ties, and it's actually really quite a fresh take on it, because actually become quite invested in these characters because they all know one another, and they discuss and they've got banter with one another because they all know each other. And it really does add to the stakes of the film and to when you finally feel like one of them's going to be killed off. I found myself wanting to literally laugh out loud throughout this film. There were so many funny moments, like some of the little one-liners that some of the characters given this really do land, where actually in previous installments, some of the comedy's been a bit lackluster, but this one really did, I find, quite funny. There was parts actually in the opening sequence of this film where what you think is going to be the main character, Iris, is actually going up in this elevator, and you can feel the anxiety because, the doors doesn't even close properly, and they're going up so high in this tower that I just couldn't help myself but laugh, because it's just so funny, the suspense that it's putting on us as an audience, as well as her in the film. It's just really great stuff. If you've seen a Final Destination before, then you know the opening sequence is very important. It sets the premise for the rest of the film, and it needs to start with a bang. And Bloodline certainly does. The whole opening sequence takes place back in 1969 and you're hundreds of feet in the air in this sky view restaurant overlooking the city. There's fiery infernos, there's collapsing floors, there's a lot going on, and it even adds a little bit of lore in as well, which I love to see in these films. They do give you a little bit in other Final Destination films, but this one adds a little bit more, not too much, but just something for you to get your teeth stuck into. There's also like a penny that comes from this fountain, like a wish fountain, and it doesn't elaborate much on it, but that has, that kind of adds a bit more lore to it. It seems rather important. I'm kind of hoping they explain a little bit more of that in other films as well. Now, if you are a Final Destination fan, then you watch these films for those classic death sequences, and Bloodlines certainly delivers on that front. You got some really good ones throughout this film. They're still using the CGI like blood effect, which I come to expect now from these films, but it doesn't really like hinder it in any way. But yes, there's some very good kill sequences in this, ones that are including like MRI machines. You've got like a barbecue scene. Again, I'm not going to go into what actually happens. You've got the sky view at the very beginning as well. There's so many like suspenseful moments as well leading up to it. I do actually think there could have been some scenes where they added a little bit more of that like expectation, where you're kind of watching little things happen leading up to the kill itself. There was a couple of occasions in this one where, you've got the classic out of nowhere kills where they're shocking. They can kind of make you jump slightly, but I prefer the ones where you've got them slow builds and you're kind of expecting something to happen, and then it doesn't. It kind of does like a double bluff and then does something else. So you do get some good kills in this. There's also, because of the family ties, there's also some like double bluffs where you think someone's a family member and then they're not, and you think it's working its way down the bloodline. So, and there's a few like mystery components to it where you're thinking, is that person actually going to die next? So yeah, it does keep you on the edge of your seat, which is what I like from a Final Destination film. The characters in this film are pretty decent as well. In the Final Destination films, usually you're used to seeing like the very stereotypical types. You've got the jock, the pothead, the bitch from school, all that kind of stuff. But actually in this one, because they're all family members, it's actually quite nice to see that, it's brothers and sisters and mums and dads kind of interacting with one another, and you don't get the usual, character tropes. So it's quite nice and refreshing to see that. And then that makes it more engaging as well, because their humour with one another actually feels like it works better because they know each other, rather than being strangers. I think one of the standout characters is actually a character called Eric. He's one of the brothers, and he has most of the one-liners and the comedy moments. He has some double bluffs in there as well, and he really does, I think, steal the show way more than the actual lead character herself. She kind of is she's like a bit of a plot device, really. She's kind of the one that's leading us through the story. You're not as invested in her as you are actually the other characters that are surrounding her, which I thought was quite strange, because usually it is that lead character in the Final Destination films that you're rooting for the most. You still don't care whether someone dies or not, because that's what you go in to watch these films for. But either way, I thought the characters were good, and I did quite enjoy watching them and seeing their family dynamic. And being that it's a Final Destination film, it was amazing to see that Tony Todd reprised his role. It was sad to see him, knowing that obviously he's sadly now passed away. But it was awesome to see him in the film, because we actually got some answers to his background, to his character, which we've been wanting for years, because he's always had these like little mysterious answers and always had a bit of knowledge about death, hunting you down. And this provides you with some of those answers. and they're not stupid answers either. It is something that seems quite realistic and not far-fetched. So I was quite happy that they did that, knowing that we're not going to get, Tony Todd in other films. It's quite strange because there's some quite heartfelt moments in this scene with Tony Todd. And I don't know whether it's just hindsight knowing now that he's passed away, but it kind of felt like a double meaning. He's, having these heartfelt interactions with the characters that we're watching, but it kind of feels like he's having them with us as the viewers as well. So yeah, very sad, but also nice to see in this film. So my final thoughts on Final Destination Bloodlines is that it's a thrilling blend of nostalgia and innovation. It doesn't necessarily reinvent the wheel, but it shows why this franchise remains a staple in horror cinema. I really do hope that this film knocks it out of the box office so we can get to see more of these films in the cinema, and get to see, more crazy death sequences and add more lore to the story. So that's been my review of Final Destination Bloodlines. I really do hope that you've enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think of this film in the comment section below. I'd love to get a discussion going. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious